Hi everybody, Sue Warnke here in foggy Pacifica, California. So about 7 months ago, I converted to Christianity after a lifetime as a proud non-believer. I'd grown up in Utah in one of the only non-Mormon families in my entire neighborhood, and though my parents took me periodically to their church, I was pretty stubborn that I didn't need that crutch. And that saw me very well through life. I achieved every major milestone in my list, grad school, great career, wonderful family, husband, friends, and I was happy. But I just felt like there was something bigger that I was missing. And I could fill that void periodically with things like travel or volunteering, but it always surfaced. And eventually I decided, well, it must be my job. And against much advice, I quit my very good job and pursued my calling, where I pretty much fell flat on my face. Not only was I not very good at this job that required a lot of sales, but I was traveling all the time, and this had a huge toll on my family, especially one family member who started to have some pretty serious health concerns at this time, and we couldn't find a specialist. And I remember sitting in a hotel room in the middle of Virginia one night on some business trip, missing my family, thinking, what have I done? And just no idea how to fix it. Luckily, a glimmer of hope, we found a specialist about this time who ended up providing such amazing care that I just stood back and I realized, wow, this is not something I accomplished, but something I'd been privileged to witness. And I started to read what this person wrote about, and it turns out, in addition to other things, he wrote about God. And this was very confusing for me, but I just continually rested in the peace of it. So much that I eventually wandered nervously into my local church one Sunday. And what greeted me was something I couldn't name, but it was just this profound peace and compassion from total strangers. And I just carried that with me on another business trip to Austin, Texas, where I was unpacking my things in another lonely hotel room, stressing about a presentation. And I got this call, and it was my aunt. And though we'd never had a conversation like this in my life, she said, I don't know exactly why I'm calling, but I felt like I need to tell you 2 things. And I stopped and sat on the bed and listened, and she said, number 1, I will love you forever and ever. And number 2, I want you to look for spirit in your life. And she proceeded to tell me stories about God in her life and Jesus and the Holy Spirit, and these kind of waves of realization that there was truth in this. And by the end of it, and it was only about 30 minutes, I just said out loud, I believe you. And that was a pretty big moment for me, you can imagine. And I carried that with me back home a few days later, where I went straight to church and said a prayer of commitment with the pastor. And life pretty much transformed overnight. So many things just resolved themselves. I entered into a period of pretty intense study where I just read everything I could get my hands on, including the Bible. And I became very involved in my community. So I run a prayer group here in town. I miraculously got my old job back, where I also run a prayer group at that company. And I just feel very privileged to know my purpose and to walk in it. And it is to honor Christ in all that I do, and to help make a safe space for people to express and explore faith, and to do just a really good job while I'm here on earth. So I just wanted to share that, and I hope it helps somebody. Thank you.